Hi, everybody. I'm here with Rob Ryan, and we're going to be talking about recruiter enablement. Rob, give us a quick introduction. Who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, I'm Rob Ryan. I'm the employer brand and marketing manager for easyJet and worked in recruitment and marketing for about 15 years.
Great. Okay. First off, to you, what is recruiter enablement?
Recruiter enablement to me is making sure that recruiters, sources, everyone who's in the recruitment chain has the tools and knowledge they need in order to do their job effectively. And from a marketing and attraction point of view, there is a fair amount that goes overlooked that is presumed to be the job of just say a recruitment marketer, but actually it's something where you we need to give skills to the team so that they can do just as good a job, because I think there is so much in attraction that happens kind of moment to moment between people and interactions that doesn't, because you can have a careers website, you can have employer brand, EVP, you can buy all the media you want, but at some stage that person is going to be interacting with someone else, and you need to get those people prepared for that. Otherwise, you're only doing half a job in terms of attraction, to me.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. I believe that probably 50% of recruiter enablement is talent attraction related. It's all of the content assets and the wording and the things like that. I also believe that recruiters are, from a talent attraction perspective, which is really the area that I come from, I believe my recruiters are part of my talent attraction. They are the
Yeah,
pointy head of the
100%.
spear into the market, delivering the message and all that kind of thing. They're also quite entrepreneurial and they like to do their own thing. And so I'm interested to know, like, what's the balance of here's the prescribed sort of this is how we do it and this is the templates and all that kind of thing versus the like here's where you should go and use your own flair and your own judgment to in order to you know
Yeah, I think there is a fair amount, and I think one of the really important things when it comes to attraction, and there was a study done in America. I don't know by who. It's one of those stats that gets thrown around in recruitment and passed around, and you just keep using it. But I think it's like 77% of all candidates who apply for a job first hear about a job through job postings, job
yeah,
adverts.
yeah,
So that's where most people start to interact with the company, and obviously that will differ. Like, I work for easyJet, lots of people have heard of easyJet, but in terms of considering to work somewhere, that's where generally you find people will touch you.
yeah,
Now, when it comes to job adverts, like, I haven't worked in many places where all the job adverts are written for you. Like, most of it will be done through recruiters.
yeah,
So straight away, like you need to arm recruiters to write a really good advert, unless you're going to do it yourself, which would be impossible because you do nothing else all day,
yeah,
particularly in large
yeah,
organizations.
yeah,
So I tend to give people a template. These are the sections you should have. I teach them what a good job advert is, both from a kind of technical point of view. This is what the job boards are looking for. This is what the candidate's looking for from information
yeah,
point of view. And I, give them some good examples to work with and teach them all that stuff. And, but after a certain point, every single job is a different project, really, even in some volume roles.
yeah,
So you can't prescribe too much because there'll always be some sort of nuance that the hiring manager or the recruiters are going to need to account for. So arming people with that type of information, I think, is just absolutely critical. But yeah, you don't want to become like a funnel, or a single point of failure where everyone's waiting on you to do something. So
yeah.
arming people to do this stuff is paramount, I think.
So when you think about templates like that, so I think we could take this concept and we could apply it to about 10 different areas of talent attraction, including outreach messaging, social media posts, and a whole bunch of others. But sticking with the job advert piece, would you give people templates? Like what sort of percentage would be templated versus this is the bit that they need to add their own spice to and their own flair to?
I would say around 40% would be kind of templates, stuff you can
Yeah.
just kind of copy and paste. So there'll be stuff like about the company, there might be some benefit statements, your diversity and inclusion statements, things to know about our company.
Yeah.
That stuff can be pretty much fixed in place. The rest of it, I mean, and what the candidates want to know is what am I doing? What do I need to do it? And what am I going to get from my efforts? And that's the stuff they really care about. That's the stuff you put at the top, and that should form the biggest part of the advert. And that's the stuff you need to really teach. Zeroing on the right information, not including too much, getting rid of all the kind of frou-frou that you get with kind of job descriptions that gets copied across to adverts. And you must be able to use Microsoft Office. Was like, well, yeah, everyone needs to know how to use that stuff. But what is actually the really important stuff you need to have in there? And you need some skill and experience in knowing what stuff you need to pick out. Not loads, it's teachable, and that's the stuff that I tend to focus on.
Honestly, I believe this is the essence of recruiter enablement. So 40% is templated, and therefore it's repeatable and scalable, and it's going to save those recruiters a lot of time doing that 40% over and over again. And then the 60%, which is the I described as spice and flair, that's the bit where you want to skill them up to be able to do it. So some of it's like template and library, and some of it is learning. And I believe both of these things are enablement. Let's talk about learning for a second. What are the kind of things that you do to, I believe that 95% of recruiters are great talkers, and maybe 30% of recruiters are naturally great writers. So what's the sort of things that you do to upskill recruiters so that they can really stand out in a crowded job board?
Yeah,
Place?
so generally I'll do kind of group workshops. I think
Yeah.
Talking about adverts is much more productive than just prescribing it. So, it's having those interactive workshops where, what do you think a good job title is? What should be in a good job advert? Those types of things to kind of tease it out. Looking at some of the pitfalls when it comes to writing, it's like the actual practicalities of writing it, like just going through that process. What are you doing? You generally start with a job description. How do you turn that into an advert? And doing it in a workshop environment allows everyone to talk, challenge each other, and it's a bit more memorable than, say, a video. And I have done videos in the past, and you've given it to people, you don't really know if they've been kind of digested. I've also turned workshops into learning and development modules on learning platforms, and worked with L&D teams to facilitate that. So doing a more virtual version of a workshop, which at least then that they've gone through the modules, because they'll generally have to take a test and all that kind of stuff. So that's the kind of starting point. But absolutely, the second most important thing with that is just following up on that, reviewing adverts. I've got a grading system that I use, just empirically, what should your job advert have in it or not have, and kind of giving people a score, like doing it periodically. This is what your grade's coming out as. Here's some stuff to work on. Working with managers of recruiters and sources, say, like, this is what your team's doing. Have a word with them. Do they need more support? But yeah, constantly doing that, because actually once people have got a good stock of examples and have done some good adverts, then it's much easier to then adapt that, and then moving forward, and over time it gets a lot quicker. So yeah, and as you say, like, building up that stock of adverts that everyone can pull on, so that it saves everyone time.
Yeah. Wonderful. So as I say, I believe that recruiter enablement, 50%, 60% of it maybe is to do with talent attraction related things. And I also believe that progressively more, the job of a recruiter is becoming a marketing job. As we go from when I started in 1999, I was speaking for almost everything I was doing. The only time I was not speaking was when I was literally writing on a piece of paper to go into the fax machine what I wanted on my lineage advert in the back of the Glasgow Herald. And today, the person sitting in my seat in that recruitment agency I used to work for is probably 60% of what they're doing. 70% of how they're communicating is other media and not speaking. So I think it's becoming more and more important. Rob, I could talk to you about this for a long time. We actually get together quite regularly on focus groups and different things to talk about this. Yeah, first of all, thanks very much for taking some time to talk in some general overview details about what it looks like from a talent attraction perspective. And hopefully we can get you on again at some point and talk in a bit more detail about some other aspects of it. So
yeah, absolutely.
many thanks, Rob.
Yeah, no, thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers, Adam.